In this video, I'm going to take a look at the Aaliyah Edwards for J.C. Sheldon trade. What was going on with that? A little bit of a lesser trade, but I still found it very interesting. These players are intertwined because in the 2024 draft, Edwards was the number 5 pick by Dallas, Sheldon was the number 5 pick by Dallas, and then Edwards was the number 6 pick by the Washington Mystics. At the time, I thought Dallas should have taken Edwards, and some of my rationale with that was Natasha Howard. I thought she was certain to leave as well. I think Satu Sabali was already had an injured shoulder at the time, and I thought they should have just gone big. And you can argue and say I was wrong. That's fine by me because it's sort of been a wash in terms of who they took. But I did think it was crazy that Greg Bibb was going to go into the season with Uzon as his point guard and J.C. Sheldon as the backup. And sure enough, that did not work. I make the argument he set Latricia Trammell up to fail just with this point guard setup alone. But with this one, it seems pretty clear that Washington was wanting to move Edwards because they had so much depth in the front court, and it was clear that she was of the 5 or the 4 that they had, she was the one that was the weakest, if you like. And in the trade, it was not only a straight swap of Sheldon for Edwards, it was also a swap of draft picks. Now, before you get excited, let's see, Connecticut owns the pick of the Minnesota Lynx, which is number 15, and the Sun owned the number the Sun owned the number 15 pick, which I believe is the Lynx right now because they have the first record, and the Mystics own the number 14 pick, which is the Liberty. So essentially, they just flip up one spot, depending on which one is higher and lower. And you would think that the Lynx and Liberty will finish 14, 15. Whichever one's higher, the Sun will move up one spot essentially. So they'll pick 14. So not a big deal there. But I think it does outline that they did want. It was the Mystics that came to the Suns with this pick. And I'm not sure it's a good deal, really, for the Sun. I don't know if I was the Sun if I would have done it. But first of all, the rationale, if you look at the on-off numbers for Aaliyah Edwards, so, well, first of all, her stats, she was scoring 6 points, 3.3 rebounds, shooting 51% from the floor, effective field goal shooting percentage 47%. So that's her overall stats, and her stats were reduced because she wasn't getting a lot of time. She was managing a back injury early in the year, and if you're the Sun, you're saying, hey, a talented second-year player, a big Tina Charles is probably going to retire after this season. Why not take a chance on Aaliyah Edwards, hometown girl in a lot of ways because she played at UConn. That will invigorate the fan base. I don't know how much that played into it, but those are the rationales, which is understandable. But Washington's rationale for letting her go or wanting to move her on is because her on-off numbers. So on offense, Washington would score 98.2 points. When she was off, they would score 100.2 points. So that's -2 on offense. On defense, that's the big area. When she was on the court, Washington would give up 107 points per 100, and then when she went off, that would reduce to 100.9. So overall, she was -8.4 in offense and defensive rating. And then you just compare that to Kiki Arieffin, who was overall, she's 7.3. That's been going down a little bit as the season's gone on, and I just think that's because she's a rookie and hitting the wall. The other one is Shakira Austin. She's plus 4.4 and makes a big difference on defense. And then the last one, Emily Inkster. I mean, her on-off is good as well. She's 3.8. And based on that, you can't have 4 bigs. I think it makes sense for them. I think it's a really good decision on their part to. And overall, I think they wanted something. I think they were hopeful. There was some noise that they were going to try to get a number 1 pick from Dallas, and I don't think she had the value to do that. I think Dallas quickly looked at her on-off, and they went with Lee Yuru, the Chinese big from the Storm. So I don't think they were ever going to get a 1 for Aaliyah Edwards. Now, the reason that Washington wanted J.C. Sheldon, if you look, and it's not her stats, so she's been getting time, and her numbers are interesting if you take a look at them. So she's averaging 7.5 points per game, 1.9 rebounds, 2 assists, and 1 steal a game. But the key thing with her that would excite me, and I'm easily excited by shooters, and she can shoot the ball. There's no doubt about that. So her field goal shooting percentage is 47% from three. She's shooting 41%, and her effective field goal shooting percentage is 57%. Her on-off numbers, she is, what is she? She is -9 overall, her on-off numbers. But if you look at Washington, I was straight away, I was looking at the competition because I think this is sort of, I think she's going to bring some competition in for Jade Melvin, which is a bit of a shame for me because I like Melvin because I'm in Canberra. She plays for the Canberra Capitals and I'm rooting for her. I just think she's a fun player and she can get to the basket. But if you look at JC Sheldon's numbers, she is, what is Sheldon? Overall, she is -10.3. And on offense, Washington scores 95 points when she's on offense per 100. And when she's off, they're scoring 105.5. On defense, they give up 104.2 when she's on the court. And when she's off, they give up 101. So that's one of their point guard options. The other one is Shug Sutton, and her numbers are much better. So overall, she is 11.9, Shug Sutton. And when she's on the court on offense, they're scoring 101.7. When she goes off, only 96.5. So she's +5 on offense. And then defense is even better. 99.7 they give up when she's on. And then when she goes off, they give up 106.5. So that's -6.8. Or they give up 6.8 less points when she's on the court playing defense. So overall, she's 11.9. And it'll be interesting. I think this will set up for next year an interesting battle if they decide to bring Jade Melvin back, because you'll also have Georgia Amore returning from her ACL injury, and you'll have Sheldon who can shoot. And Sheldon potentially could play a little bit off guard. Like, for me, if you can shoot the ball, it's just such an asset, and it just allows your team to space. And I think there's a place in the league if you can shoot. So I do think this is a smart pickup. I think they got the best value they could for Aaliyah Edwards. And I like the trade for the Mystics because they can go in and see if Amore can play. They've got Sheldon as well, and then Shug Sutton. That's a good three set, in my opinion. With the Connecticut Sun, like I said, I understand what they're doing. Why not bring in a big, see what she can do? Maybe she's been hindered by her back, Aaliyah Edwards. Overall, my take on Edwards, her shot chart was very similar to Kiki Ariafen, sorry. And I just think, though, when I look at Edwards, she just seems really mechanical to me. I think I made the comment before. I don't know if we're supposed to do it or not, but she reminds me of Kevin Willis. Like Kevin Willis, and probably nobody knows this except me. Kevin Willis used to play for the Atlanta Hawks and was really bulked up and really jacked, but he just looked like RoboCop out there. In some of the ways, I see Edwards that way as well. Not quite like that, but just really mechanical, and it really shows when you compare her to Kiki Ariafen, who's just very fluid and just seems so natural in her post moves and things like that. But either way, probably a wash for most people, but I did find the trade interesting and thought I'd sort of talk about it a little bit and just give you my take on it. So overall, I like the deal for the Mystics. I think they needed to move Edwards on. And overall, Cheryl Reeve was talking about this in terms of the Diamond Miller trade for Carrington. You want trades to be a win-win. I think this trade's a win-win. They needed Edwards will get more time with the Sun and be able to develop, and it'll be determined if she can play or not. And Washington has a need at point guard. Bring her in and see what she can. Not Washington. Washington has a need at point guard and see what Sheldon can do there. Anyway, that's my overall take on this. Hope you enjoyed the video. Enjoy the games. I'll probably do some recaps afterwards. Anyway, have a great night.